What's up, everybody? Welcome to BioS 3 Raw TV. Raw TV. Right, buddy? That's right. Today we're going to talk about the end of 2015 and the beginning of 2015 and everything in fucking between of 2015, because it's no surprise that... What are you doing? Check it. He's looking at the computer. He watches me on the computer when I edit the videos. 2015 started off for me on a bad note. And I started to fix this fucking camera angle, reflect on things in the last week or so, after having a couple discussions with friends of mine that really just kind of opened my eyes to some things. 2015 started off with Carrie and I breaking up. Not a good way to start off the year. It really isn't. I then kind of followed that up with getting last place in my first physique competition. Great way to start off the year. You know, my grandfather died this year. Bruno died this year. I had two friends die, one of suicide and one in Afghanistan. My dad's cancer came back. My rotator cuff was bothering me again. Not to the point where I couldn't move it or anything, but, you know, it definitely was giving me some issues again. And I looked at everything. That was, you know, basically running through, I guess, August. So now, August, September, October, November, December. Here we are 4 months later. We're rounding out 2015. And some people would be like, oh, man, I can't wait for 2016 because 2015 sucks so bad. I find myself looking at 2015 and not wanting it to end and saying, you know, I'm sad to see 2015 go. It seems there's always good and bad balance that happens to you. And although things were kind of bad, a bunch of stuff that was good happened towards the end of the year. You know, Aaron and I got together, which is, you know, something that, you know, turned out to be amazing. Bruno passed away, but Brady's in my life now. I'm getting ready to move in a couple of weeks. I'm actually moving in with Aaron in Virginia. I'm excited about that. There's a lot of cool things happening. You know, I signed with Primeval Labs. I'm producing my own supplements with them, and I'm formulating supplements with them right now. I'm doing things that, you know, are really cool towards the end of the year, and the year really turned around. So I don't look at 2015 as such a negative experience, whereas, you know, other people would. And I kind of looked at it and said, why, you know, in the past I might have looked at it and said, I can't wait till 2015 is over. What's different now? My perspective has changed. My perspective on negative and positive things. The negative things that led to the positive this year are a good thing. You know, I had to have those negative things happen to have the positive things happen. That's how it works. But not everybody looks that way, or works that way, or thinks that way. So I had a friend that, and this really sucks. It sucks pretty bad, who I've known for a long time, who I considered a good friend. And her perspective on life, usually she puts forth a outer perspective that seems good, but inside I know that it's not. There's a big negative thing going on all the time. There's a battle within her. And a lot of people in your life will tell you that they just want you to be happy, and they're happy if you're happy. And that's not the truth. Some of those people are not happy even when you're happy, and they actually see you happy and they want to bring you down. So they're going to remind you of all the negative and bad things, this, that, and the other thing, try to bring down your happiness, which is kind of a fucked up situation. I explained to her that I was moving in with Aaron, and, you know, she didn't think this was a good idea. She thought this was a very bad idea, and she went on to say some negative things that I was just like, what the fuck? Like, I'm happy. Aren't you happy that I'm happy? No comment. So I kind of stepped back a little bit, and I said, okay, what is it that when I look at someone, I don't want to pull them down. I don't want to drag someone down. I don't want to make them feel worse. I want to make them feel better about their situation, even if I could help out. Like, let's say this person was moving in with somebody. I'd say, fuck, do you need any help moving? You know what I mean? If you're happy, I'm happy. Let me help you move. Let's all go out to dinner after you move in, whatever. Like, what is different about the perspective? And I think that what I saw this year for the first time in a long time, and maybe possibly in my entire life, was the negative things that were happening back to back to back to me. Not only did I keep my composure and kept my shit together, but I was trying to figure out what the bigger message was, what the bigger plan was. And in essence, those things really didn't have to do with me as a person and inside. There were external factors that were happening that caused all these things to happen to other people. You know, and I stopped and said, why am I able to be so positive at the end of this year that sucked? Now, I do remember 2013 was a pretty good year. And as it was ending, I was like, man, I don't know how we're going to even fucking, you know, beat this with 2014. 2014 was a great year. Business was on the fucking rise. The YouTube thing was popping. I mean, we had ended it off with the Olympia. It was so cool. We had this great year. And I was like, oh my God, like, what if 2015 can't live up to it? And then when 2015 came, and it really just not only didn't live up to it, but it definitely was, fucking 80% less of what I had in 2014 as far as the experiences and the great times and all these things. I didn't get mad about it. I didn't get upset about it. I sat back, and each thing as it came, I took it one at a time. And I think that's the key to getting past things. One thing at a time, I took on and got past one thing at a time. But as these bad things happen, the new good things pop up, and you take those one at a time. And at the end of the year, it didn't really matter where you were in the beginning of the year. Like, it doesn't matter where I was in January. It doesn't matter where, in January, Carrie and I split. Not a good thing. At the end of the year, Aaron and I are together, we're happy. In March, still the beginning of the year, I placed last place in my first physique competition. In August, I won. There's good and bad, but where it ends up at the final point of that year is what really matters. And I'm thankful for having had what I had in 2015, because, there's a lot of people out there that are a lot worse off right now. They would look at my life and say, that's the ideal life. Like, I wish I could have that life. I want that life. Please, 2016, be as kind to me as 2015 was to Jerry. And then there's other people that look at it and they only see the negative parts and say, man, you had the worst year ever. I'm so sorry. And I look at it and said, I'm not having the worst year. I'm having a great year. Bad things happen all the time. The older you get, the more bad things happen. Maturity comes with it. But, in retrospect, I look back and I say, it was an even year for me, good and bad. And anytime there's an even year, hey, to me, that's a win. I've had a lot of good years in the past. I've had a lot of bad years in the past. And I'm totally prepared for 2016 that if it's all nonstop good like it was in 2014, terrific. If it's not, I got a bunch of lessons to be learned like I did in 2015. And the more you learn these lessons and you accept them and you try to figure out what are the teachings of these lessons, that's what it's all about. So if you guys had a bad year this year, had shit happen to you, you could have been evicted from your house, lost your job. There's so many things that could have been going wrong right now for you guys. In 2016 comes, if you switch the attitude and go from the negative attitude to the positive attitude and really work on things one at a time. Like, if you lost your job, concentrate on, okay, what do I do first? Okay, I need to get a new suit so I can go to this job. Now, you don't have to go to get an expensive one. Go to Marshall's and get something, a nice new suit to go get. Like, take one step at a time to secure the next goal that you have. Once that goal is accomplished, find the next goal. Secure that. And when the bad things come, take those, with a grain of salt, because those are testing your mettle. Those are testing who you are as a person, testing your intestinal fortitude to move on and be better at something else. And something else better is on its way. I remember, I forget who it was, but, I think it was Phil Heath. I think Phil Heath was someone like, hey, I know you're going through some shit right now, but better things are on the way, I promise. That's what he said. And I was just like, I hope so. And, he was right. Here's a guy who's obviously been through different things himself and, offered that advice to me. And I offer that advice to you guys now is, if there's bad things going on right now, there's going to be good things that come. If there's good things going on right now, be prepared. The bad things are on the way. They absolutely are. It's just a matter of weathering the bad times and enjoying the good times. And I'll go back to the quote that I had when I was a senior in high school. I'm heading back to Rhode Island this weekend, actually the day after tomorrow. Nothing very good or very bad lasts very long. That was the quote that I picked for my senior quote in my yearbook. And it was literally, I had fucked around so much I didn't get the quote. And they had a shoebox full of fucking quotes that people didn't use, that they were thinking about using. And I just reached in and picked one. I said, put this in the fucking yearbook for me. And that's what the quote was. Little did I know, here we are, I'm going to be 40 years old. So 22 years later, 23 years later, I'm still living by that. BioStrengthTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.biostrengthtraining.com is a blog. It's the goodbye 2015, hello 2016. We'll see what happens. Bicep, and we're out.